So hi, I'm Carly from Mala Hypnotherapy. You can find my website at malahypnotherapy.com. And what I'd like to do here today is just to give a little bit of information about the lens through which I see the mind and how it works, and how I use this lens in my work as a hypnotherapist. The reason I want to do this is so that if you're considering a Skype session with me, which is a reasonably good way to get access to the kind of way in which I work with hypnosis if you're from outside of New Zealand, and indeed if you're from outside of the Taranaki area here. So what I want to do is just show you the mind and how it works, as far as I have, figured out. And bear in mind, there's many more different levels and layers and dimensions to the mind than what I'm going to talk about in the next few minutes. But this is enough to help you embark upon a journey of a self-inquiry inward that can help you get some insight into the patterns and the behaviours and the conditioning and the programs that you have running in your story. And in my experience, it's the more we get to know our story, the more we get to sort of see through it and see it arising and not react to it or get caught up in it as much as what we might have prior to doing the self-inquiry. And it's an ever-deepening journey. I don't believe we suddenly awaken and boom, we're enlightened. I think there's a lot of processing and evolving and deepening and growing that we need to, or seem to be here to do. So what I'd like to do is just imagine that this circle is your mind. And we have 3 levels to the mind that I'd like to work with today. And the first one would be your conscious mind. I'm just going to use abbreviations here. So your conscious mind is that analytical, deductive, rational, reasoning mind. It's the part of your mind that makes your choices. It's also the part of your mind that houses your 5 senses. And so it is through your conscious mind, that information of what's around you that you can see, hear, smell, taste and touch, that is coming in to your sensory awareness. So your conscious mind is your conscious will, is the choice that you make on a conscious level. But the power behind your choices comes at another level, a deeper level, here through the subconscious mind. And this could be the power or the doer behind the will or the choices that we make. And in this way, there's a thing about willpower, and that it's an oxymoron unless the will of the conscious mind is in alignment with the will of the subconscious mind or the doer. So what I'm saying here is that although I've called this will, there's another level of will here at the subconscious level. And this level of will, you might not be particularly aware of, not as aware of as the choices you're consciously making anyway. So this will at the subconscious level, is made up by your programming. And this becomes the positive and negative thoughts and feelings and ideas of yourself and the world and how you fit into it. This is the fabric, if you like, of your personality. Caught up in here is our story, that which runs us, that which keeps us going and motivates us towards being that positive, optimistic, outgoing person that we are, or that negative, dragging through the mud type of person that we can also be. So the subconscious mind runs on a bunch of different rules, and in a nutshell, it'll always seek to drive you away from what it considers as painful and dangerous, and towards what it considers as safe and pleasurable. So most of us, 80% in fact, it's been statistically researched, will drive away from danger. So we're going to move to avoid pain. Whereas 20% of us have awoken to a deeper level of knowledge within our existence down here, that we can actually seek to move towards pleasure. It's a bit more of a positive way of looking at things. So this is coming from our programming here as to which way that would go. The subconscious mind's always going to go to prove that it's right. So you want to be really careful what you're proving yourself right about. You don't want to prove yourself right that you're not good enough, that you're unworthy, that you're unlovable, that you're never seen. You don't want to prove that you're right about you deserve to be abused, that you're unworthy of love. Any of these things you do not want to prove to yourself that they're right, and I'll talk about that more in a moment. What is important here is that you become aware of what you believe, and through hypnosis I can help you become more aware of your beliefs. Subconscious mind is also the seat of your emotions, your imagination, and your creativity. So in hypnosis and in any sort of subconscious kind of process, if you feel like you're making it up, the trick here is just to really keep making it up. Because why are you making up that right now? At some level, that will have some depth of truth to it. And it's that depth of truth that we want to be able to access and tweak in some kind of way if it's not serving us. And we want to enhance it if it is serving us, and really let it drive us if it's serving us. So the subconscious mind is operating on all sorts of different levels of what it's doing. Also, what's important to know here is that the subconscious mind is driven by your autonomic nervous system. What does that mean? Your autonomic nervous system is that part of your central nervous system that is guiding your fight, flight and freeze responses and your ability for resting and digesting. So if you're perceiving, remembering that's your perceptions, which is the programming here, if you're perceiving negative, fearful, anxious type of ways of looking at the world, then what you're actually doing is activating your sympathetic nervous system to trigger off all your fight, flight or freeze responses. So in this way, this is kind of where the likes of the, dare I say it, law of attraction comes into play. If you're seeing things in a certain way, then your nervous system is going to start sort of sending out that sort of vibrational energy to attract you into that. So you can turn around and go, wow, I'm really right about that. Because remember, the subconscious mind wants to prove that it's right. Be careful. So what I'm trying to convey here is that when we can perceive safety, I have a right to be here, I'm loved, I'm worthy, when we have these sorts of perceptions, our beliefs, our patterns, our programming directs our subconscious mind to then activate the parasympathetic nervous system. This is the side of the autonomic nervous system that will activate our resting and digesting ability. On this side, our heart rate comes down, our blood pressure drops, our metabolism balances out. We're able to lose weight here, we're able to balance or put on weight if we need to. We're more likely to be able to stop smoking and other addictive habits that maintain the suppression of some kind of anxiety. And we're able to access a higher level of thinking. And this side also is huge effects on our reproductive systems. A lot of women with infertility issues on this whole level. If there's anxiety and stress and fear, the reproductive system and its ability to conceive and reproduce is going to plummet. So there's a lot we can do here on many levels to change the way that the subconscious mind is perceiving what is occurring in the world around you. The idea would be to balance it so that you are perceiving more positive ways of being, you've got more thoughts and feelings and actions and behaviors of loving kindness, and that goes out into the world to prove to you that you are in the right place, you are worthy, you are lovable, and you can act to your own highest good. What else? So the subconscious mind, really, the more you get to know how it's working, the more you're able to then better know your story and respond to it. So at another level deeper down is the superconscious mind. So this is another level of will. This is the level of will of the soul. The soul intention, the higher purpose with which you came into this world. This is your Dharma, if you have a spiritual practice. This is your path in life. This will come through very clearly for those of you on the path of spiritual practice. For those of you that aren't, you might awaken to the realization that the work you're doing isn't bringing you the the satisfaction, the fulfillment, the peace, the balance that you would like to experience in your life. And this may be a way for you to look into another way of being, a more fulfilling and satisfying way of being. So this level of will, again, is even more unseen. It's even more unobvious than the conscious mind's level of will. So what I'm trying to convey here is that there's many different levels of will. And if this level of will at the conscious mind is not in alignment with this level of will at the subconscious mind, and is not in alignment with this level of will at the soul level, then we have what you might experience as an incongruency. I've come to refer to this as anxiety, fear, nervousness, frustration. Here we just don't really feel like we're doing what we came here to do. So this can be apparent, but somewhere along the age, somewhere here, well, first of all, there's a flow here. This information is coming from up here, from parents, family, society, politics, economics. It's, this is how we are conditioned and grown. The environment, the cultural shadow that we're brought into, the cultural environment, cultural conditioning has a lot to do with how this is all programmed. What was also affecting it is another depth, deeper than this, which you might call source or spirit or God, Christ consciousness, Buddha mind. I don't really mind what we call it. Some people like the nature of spirit, or the spirit of nature even. It doesn't really matter what you call it, but there's a deeper level of support available for us that's available in an unseen, guiding kind of a way. And this is like a creative impulse, if you like, that kind of surges through us in a way that we really might not be aware of. So again, there's another level of will. That's a more impersonal level of will as well. This is all very personal. This is all very me, mine, and me, my story. Beyond here is the more than that I am. That is not necessarily personal to me, but I'm driven by it in spite of my personal story. So somewhere around the age of 7 to 11, we develop what I know as a critical factor. Now this critical factor is that which can separate off, if you like, create separation within us. That which is different from the conscious mind. So now we're not necessarily aware of what's going on here. Because it's developed somewhere between 7 and 11, and I actually suspect it's developing a lot sooner in many children these days, because we seem to be developing a lot quicker. And those of you who are parents might contest to this as well, in that we know that this is developing when our children and ourselves became suspicious of Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and the other little lies that we've told them along the way. It's that ability to go, wait a minute, that story just doesn't add up for me anymore. That story just doesn't make sense. How can that be true? Is these questions that we start to ask. And here in these questions is, Santa Claus is a rather large man and my chimney's relatively skinny. How does he fly around the world, and how does he give all those children of the world all those presents, and it just doesn't add up. So is this it doesn't add up process that starts to awaken people's desire to do some work, going, hang on a minute, how can this be true? I'm a relatively successful person, I feel really good about myself most of the time, yet I just simply can't seem to hold down a job. Or I just don't feel good about myself all the time and I really don't understand why. Why should I not? That person there who doesn't have half as much going for them seems to get on all right in life. Why don't I? Doesn't add up. I'm anxious. It doesn't add up. I don't perceive any reason why I should actually really truly be anxious. I want to stop smoking. I can't. I can't figure out why I can't. I've been smoking all my life. I don't want to be a smoker anymore. Why can't I stop? Why can't I just make it stop? It doesn't add up. I should be able to do that. Others can. These sorts of questions mean that the critical factor is getting ready to relax. And what we want it to do is relax in hypnosis, because in hypnosis we're actually encouraging it to do this. by relaxing it down like this. This is done by hypnotic techniques that allow us to just relax. It's a body relaxation. It might be a general guided visualization that'll bring you into a deeper level of relaxation and awareness, or it might be a rather snappy kind of a one. It just kind of depends on the person, and whether it's one-on-one or in video over Skype. It really depends what sort of techniques I might use with you for that purpose, but we'll figure it out between us. The idea is that we're going to relax us down in a way that will help you access this information. So for example, if you wanted to find out why you weren't really feeling good enough to do the things that you wanted to do in your life, why was this, I can't do it, I'm not good enough, why is this belief hanging out, then we might just take the theory that all parts of you are actually good parts and have good and positive intentions. And even this part of you that doesn't feel like he or she is good enough still has a good intention. But what is the good intention, and what's the more healthy way of manifesting that intention? So we want to access that and bring it up to the conscious mind and take a look at it. And once we take a look at it, then we'll get that part to speak. Here's where you might be feeling like you're making some stuff up. And that's okay. Keep making it up. There's a reason. And the way I've been trained at the American Academy of Hypnotherapy, or the Hypnotherapy Academy of America, we know to make these into a positive before we send them back down. A lot of people, hypnotherapists, when they work like this, they just do positive suggestion therapy, and there might be this I'm unlovable or not good enough kind of negative belief here, and then they might just flood it with, of course you're good enough, of course you're wonderful, and blah blah blah. But the negative is still there. And if the negative is still there, it's still operating, it's still playing out in some way or another. The way I've been trained is to transform that negative thought into a positive one and then send it back down. And then it's a positive one that we are going to flood with positive suggestion therapy. And this is where the self-hypnosis and guided meditation MP3 downloads that I have available at lifeformula.co.nz can be a really good adjunct to the work that we do together. They're also, for some people, really beneficial all on their own, and those people are ready to change and ready to make the shifts. And in those people that really are ready, then the negative false self-thought will automatically transform into a positive one, which is really great because it's a faster way of working if you're ready. And you just play the CDs and you go off to bed, or you meditate to them during the day, whenever it really works for you, and that will help you transcend what is not working for you in your life. So, in conclusion, the way I see my job as your hypnotherapist is to help you increase your awareness of how you're perceiving things here in your subconscious mind. Knowing how we perceive things is part of the issue. Most of us don't. Unless we're doing some kind of self-inquiry, we don't really know why or how we're perceiving things. So my job is to help increase your awareness of your perceptions so that your subconscious mind can automatically balance the behaviors in your autonomic nervous system. In this way, all of your physiology can start to balance out, and you can start to experience a deeper sense of peace and joy and love and happiness, and that I have a right to be here kind of feelings in your life. I like to encourage my clients to take up some kind of yogic practice. I'm a very huge advocate of yogic philosophy. I think meditation and yoga they're my two chosen practices, along with probably rollerblading, fire spinning, hula hooping, nature walks, spiritual study, reading books, and good quality time with friends and family. That would be kind of my most favourite ways of really being a human being, having a spiritual experience on this beautiful planet that we call Earth. One other thing I'd like to cover before I finish here, I just rub this off. The formation of beliefs is crucial to our evolution and our development, and to really look into how we are perceiving things. So how far have we got? An event happens in life, and from that event we create a belief. And this is a little lie. See that little lie word, L-I-E, that's in the middle of belief. This is a lie. This is a story that we've made up about what happened. It might be true in some respect, but most of our beliefs were created when we were quite little. So, but that whatever that belief was, it's been created here on whatever the event was. From that belief, we end up with a certain kind of emotion, a certain feeling. And from that emotion, we'd engage in some kind of behaviour. And that behaviour will lead to some kind of result that will go to prove that that belief was true. Remember, the subconscious mind is always going to seek to prove that it was right. So we've got to be careful about what we're proving ourselves to be right about, and when that means we've got to know what our beliefs are or become very familiar with them so we can see those ones that don't serve us when they're playing out and switch them around. So let's take, for example, that the event happened that you were very little, say you're about 2 years of age, and you're a little girl, yeah, let's be a little girl, and you were looking forward to Daddy coming home, and Daddy finally came home, and you're all excited to see him, but Dad had a bit of a stressful day, and he was a bit preoccupied and didn't really have the presence with you that you as your little self wanted. He sat down at the table and he got out some papers, and you climbed up beside him with a glass of milk, and Daddy, can we play now? No, we can't play. Daddy, but I want to play. No, can't play. And just imagine that you tipped your milk all over these papers that Daddy was, trying to work on. And he got very angry. He didn't beat you up or anything. It doesn't have to be that sort of event for some huge belief to manifest or be started. And he got you, and he took you, and he gave you to your mum, and he said, just you be there. I just can't deal with you right now. In your little mind, you're like, Daddy doesn't like me very much. I mustn't be very good. I'm not good enough for man. I'm not good enough for Daddy. I must not be good enough for any man. As you have this belief started to make, it doesn't feel very good. So the emotion you conjure up in yourself really isn't a very nice emotion. And so the behaviour that you start to engage in around that doesn't really start to create the sort of results you're after. When we feel good and we're acting from a really good place, that's when we really start to create good results and good feelings, good behaviours, good results again. But when we're not feeling so good, the opposite happens. So over time, maybe you've got that belief and it's kind of compounded more and more, and now maybe you're in your teens and you've started dating and you've got your first or second, third dates going on, and they're not going so good. And you can just sort of see where the story's going. I'm going out on a date, I'm 16, I've got this belief that I'm really not good enough for the date, but I don't really know that I've got this belief. I'm not aware of this belief yet. But I still don't feel very confident in myself. And so the behaviours that I elicit while I'm out on this date don't really show a very strong degree of confidence, and the guy I'm dating doesn't really seem to really want to have that much conversation with me. He seems a bit off, a bit edgy. So the result is that I come away thinking, well, that was a waste of space and time, and I'm really not good enough because he doesn't really want much more to do with me. And so the kind of question I would ask him would be, and so you don't want to have another date with me, huh? And he'd look at me and go, yeah, no, not really. But if I was more positive and more optimistic and more open and more believing in myself, I'd probably say, so when should we hang out again next? And he probably wouldn't be able to resist me. Unless, of course, I was a real dick. So the idea of what we want to do is change our beliefs. And there's only a few proven ways to change our beliefs, and one of them is hypnosis. Others are through meditation, forms of psychotherapy, counselling for years on end. There's certain other ways, but hypnotherapy is one of the quickest, most insightful ways that I've found to do this work. We want a new belief And when we've got a new belief, we can create a new emotion, a new behavior, a new result. And in this way, we start going around in higher circles. This is the evolution of beliefs. We create ever-increasing cycles of higher and higher degrees of belief. And as we develop and evolve and grow, the complexity of our mind also increases. And so it's important that you find someone to work with that has an understanding of growth and development in a way that they're able to assess where you're at and be in a place to be able to take you to the next level. This is the problem that a lot of us find when we're seeking out hypnotherapists or any kind of therapist, especially if we're on the spiritual path of growth and development, or if we've been doing some kind of inner growth and work and self-inquiry that the therapist hasn't themselves been doing. I've had quite a extensive time now with spiritual growth and development and yogic practices and philosophy, and I feel like I've reached a certain level where I can help people to quite a complex degree. And if you'd like to do some work with me, especially if you're on the spiritual path and you've been going through spiritual crises as you awaken, it can be a really rough and bumpy road. It's something that I specialise in. I've been through it. I've been through hell and back on the spiritual path, and I feel like I've arrived at a place where at the moment feel very stable and balanced in where I am at, in a way that I'm able to continue with my practices now with the insight of knowing that, yeah, I'll probably never really get there. And that's okay, because we're evolutionary creatures and we're living in an evolving cosmos, which means we're going to continue to evolve and grow. And as we continue to evolve and grow, there's going to be stuff that arises that's going to be outside of our comfort zone. When something's outside of our comfort zone, our little self, our little egoic self, gets very fearful, because we don't like change at a deep, deep primitive level. We like things to remain stable and the same. But the world's not like that. We get older, there's pain, there's suffering, there's old age, there's death. There's marriages, there's divorces, there's births, there's again deaths. There's moving, there's coming, there's arriving. There's evolving and growing at every single stage of development. So I see my role and my work as being that which is hopefully able to help those of you on that path of growth and development to go through the different stages in as smooth transitions as possible. In saying that, you do not have to be on a spiritual path to do work with me. If you just want to stop smoking or lose weight, then I can help you with that too. I'll warn you though that those kind of changes, when we get out of what we think is our comfort zone, once we've moved out of them, once we've stopped that kind of behaviour or that affliction of the mind, then a new way of being will emerge for us, and that'll provide us with a whole lot of new ground. And that new ground is where a whole lot of new, wonderful and exciting changes can emerge. So to think that you're just going to stop smoking or just lose weight, that's just the start. That's just opening the gate to a whole nother way of being. So if you'd like to know more, please email me, Kali, K-A-L-I, at marlahypnotherapy.com. You can go to my website, marlahypnotherapy.com, and sign up for the newsletter there. You'll get an automatic free MP3 download for Being You. And that is a beautiful track, just no music or anything that'll distract you. It's just going to guide you into a nice, deep and relaxing place, and it'll help you really connect with the depth of who you are, not that person that you're expected to be. I think I'm probably going to actually create one that does have a background of music as well, so you can have a choice. But right now, it's no music. So anyway, I think I'll leave it at that with you guys for now. I would love to do some Skype sessions with you. It'll be neat to meet some of you that have been following my work for a while now. And yeah, I look forward to evolving and growing and deepening more along with you. It's an exciting time. You know, there's a lot happening out here in the world at the moment. So yeah, one at a time. Let's evolve and grow. Thank you. Namaste.